Hello, welcome in. Hello, John. Hello, Plasmir. How are you guys? Welcome in. I hope you guys are having a good evening. How's everyone's days going? How's your Thursdays? Today was Thursday and tomorrow is Friday. The weekend is imminent. But yeah, hello. I hope you guys are having a good day. I had a pretty slow day at work, so I just, played on the ukulele a lot this morning, and I got some violin practice in before stream. And then I got sent a thing where I jumped onto the chance to collab with a small group of the VTSO members, Yam and Enva, and so Enva already sent in her parts, and now I'm like, oh my god, the pressure for me to go and practice and submit my part. But there's a part where it goes slightly really, really high, so I really have to practice that part and make sure that it sounds really good before I send it in. I'm hoping that I do it justice, because Azure was like, oh yeah, I can do that for you, and I was like, ah, oh, damn, I responded too late, because I was in the Discord too, but I responded too late. And then Azure was like, no, you can have it if you want. And then I was like, oh, are you sure? Are you sure you don't want to do this thing? And he was like, no, you can have it. And I was like, oh, okay. So now I really have to do well, because Azure was supposed to be playing it, and he's really good at violin. No worries. Welcome in, Action. Hello. Thank God it's Friday tomorrow. I'm so happy. It's been a really long week for me specifically. But today we can go a little past 9 because there is no raid today. So I'll just go until I start feeling a little bit tired. I do know one of the VTSO members is supposed to be streaming later today. And he's coming back from a long time not streaming. So we might raid into him if he is live. But let's see here. I haven't started up the game yet, so I gotta get that going. But how's everyone's day? How was your Thursday? I know a couple people who are up in Canada got snowed in or are about to be snowed in, so I hope you guys are staying safe out there. If you do need to, go outside for whatever reason, make sure people know you're leaving. Make sure people know when you're supposed to be coming back, because you don't want to be trapped somewhere with no one to call help for you. D&D section. Good. Playing Try Genshin, trying to get a 10 pull. Good luck with that. I don't play Genshin anymore, but good luck with that. Let me start up the game here. We're gonna continue on. Okay. There we go. Did I change the title of the stream? I think I did. Okay. Yeah, so is this guy dead or what? I don't know. I'm a big boy. I can take a few meters of snow. I mean, I see 30 centimeters of snow and I'm like, ooh, that's a little bit too much. Centimeters of snow. A little too much. All right, here we go. Whatever do you think will happen now? Good question. What a strange situation for Mr. Natsume, arrested for murder, but then the victim comes back to life? I think perhaps the victim was never dead in the first place. It seems very likely that Mr. Shampspeare did consume poison, as we deduced. But was it an accident? Attempted suicide? Or attempted murder? Duo, hello, welcome in. How are you? Great question. Spicy nutmeg. No, it's spicy nutsmeg. I might stop playing Genshin for today. You do whatever you want, Action. Welcome in, Duo. How are you doing? How are you at home in your warm home watching VTubers? How has your Thursday been? Until the truth can be established, I imagine the police will keep Mr. Natsume in custody. I suppose so. Let's hope it doesn't come to anything more than a night in the cells. Ugh, what's this? What's that man doing over there? He looks like he's trying to see into Soseki-san's lodgings. Is something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo? Excuse me, could we have a word? Ugh. Ah, what kind of man voice do I give to him? Did he run away? He just ran off. Okay, he ran away. I feel sure that I've seen that man somewhere before. Where was it? I do too, but I don't remember. Doing well. Watching the Iron Mouse birthday party and the Princess Roska Attorney Mystery. Oh, Duo, thank you so much for choosing me along with Iron Mouse for your evening entertainment. I really do appreciate that. Nope, we're not chasing after them. I apologize. Bro said peace out. Let's just take a look. What were they looking at? With the exception of the top floor where Mr. and Mrs. Garadeb live, all the windows are bricked up. Yes, that's because of an old window tax that was charged on the number of windows a property had. In order to pay less tax, the poorer members of society filled in many of their windows. But the tax has since been abolished, hasn't it? So the windows could all be opened up again, surely. Unfortunately, it would appear that the residents of this district can't afford to pay to have the work done. Yes, that is a sad state of affairs. Especially for people like poor Mr. Natsume, who have to live all cooped up in a windowless room. I suppose that's a price you pay for living in very cheap accommodation. Also, sorry, I need to take some Advil because all of a sudden I started getting like a headache, so I will be consuming some pills for the brain to work better. Sorry for all the noise and clatter. Does anyone else have problems swallowing pills, or is it just me? Anytime I put a pill in my mouth, I'm so scared that like I'm gonna swallow it wrong and I'm gonna choke. Like it's something that I fear like all the time, literally always. Like I'm so scared of it. It all seems rather pointless when you put it like that. The Garadeb household and Mr. Natsume's lodgings are in a prominent position there on the corner. Sometimes when I look at the building, I can't help feeling that it's a bit of a slant. It does rather look as though it would collapse in even the smallest earthquake, doesn't it? And isn't it supposed to be haunted as well? I think I might have a hunch as to why Soseki-san has such a hunched back. Princess, we need to talk about your addiction to Advils. I love Advil. Advil is like the candy of choice as an adult. Like, you always have a headache, and what better way to get rid of a headache than to drink some Advil, you know? Even if it's not drink per se, as like swallow a couple pills of Advil. But, you know, same difference at the end of the day. Sorry, hold on. Also, this other thing that's been happening to me is like, I've been practicing violin and ukulele so much that like I'm starting to get like obviously calluses on the tips of my finger, but like it's so dry that it's starting to peel as well. And like I don't know, I have this like obsession, like compulsion to like peel the skin off my fingertips. Hunchback, guess Saucy Nutsmeg needs to stretch her tape. Shell, welcome in. How are you? Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Oops, already read that. Sorry, hold on. How are you? Happy Thursday, Show. There always seems to be a bicycle outside the Garadeb residence. I read that bicycles are extremely popular all over Great Britain at the moment, in fact. That one seems very warped though, especially the front wheel. Is that to make it more of a challenge to ride, do you think? No, I'm afraid that may be a result of the rider's incompetence. For the front wheel to be so badly warped, I'm afraid the rider may have been similarly afflicted. Then there's a good chance Mr. Natsume has been practicing on this bicycle, I think. Oh dear, I feel you may be right. Anything else that we can look at? Snowman. Why has somebody built this snowman on some sort of pedestal, do you think? That's not a pedestal, Mr. Naruhodo. That's part of the snowman's body. Really? But it already has a perfectly good body. Well, it's true that British snowmen are usually made with 2 balls of snow. Perhaps this is a foreigner. And now we're looking at him as if he's strange. Poor man, I know how he feels. If anything, it's Japanese and British 2-ball snowmen that are the strange ones, isn't it? After all, real people do have 3 sections: head, torso, and legs. Do you ever think that perhaps you think about things too much? Wow, rude. Doing good. I was watching Pomu for a bit before coming here. Oh, is Pomu from Niji-sanji also streaming? Isn't she leaving soon? I know everyone's like kind of really sad about it because Pomu is like the face, I think, what people consider to be the face of Niji-sanji EN, because she was like the first wave to come out. Yui, hello, welcome in. How are you? Welcome, welcome. London's blanketed in fog again today, and the sky is covered in cloud. But if you look carefully in the distance, you can just make out the Crystal Tower being built. Ah, the Crystal Tower, yes. The centerpiece of the great exhibition that's to open in 6 months' time. Everyone's talking about the Great Exhibition of London at the moment, it seems. Well, it's to be the largest event of its kind anywhere in the world, with technology and scientists from all over. I can't wait for it myself. Do you think visiting students from the Far East like us will be granted entry? Pomu is graduating on my birthday of all days. Oh no, Yui, that sucks. I'm so sorry. Oh no, that's terrible. She's graduating on the 20th. Oh, I'm sorry. Boo. And like, I think when the news came out, literally, like I was sitting in chat with some VTSO members, and we were talking about it, and we looked at the date that she sent in for, that said, the date that Niji-sanji said she'd be graduating, and it's literally like homegirl just gave them her 2 weeks notification and was like, all right, peace out. I'm sure it took like a lot of, you know, thought and consideration, but like something must be going on because, you know, there's like, I don't know when they're, see, I don't know that much about corporate VTubers. I don't know when Lazuli came out, like when they debuted. I don't know if it's like contract negotiations or maybe it was like her just working so long for Niji-sanji that like she can just give 2 weeks notification. Yeah, Niji-sanji can't keep their EN talent because last year didn't like two really big VTubers graduated, right? I think it was like Nina and Mista, and then like later, a couple months later, both of them debuted with V Shoujo or something. I'm not like super knowledgeable, but I know about that in passing, you know. And I think recently something happened with their other talent, Selene Tatsuki. I've heard that a lot of Selene's big activities have been blocked by management or, you know, by the company, and most recently I think her cover had to be pulled, so she hasn't been like online, so I don't know what's going on there either. So annoyed for Selene. Yeah. I feel really bad because like I can't imagine working so hard for a company and preparing all these fun things and then not being able to like do whatever it is, right? Or like show the fruits of your labor. Because everything that I do with the VTSO members, like, of course it takes time because unfortunately, music just takes time, you guys. But I don't have any issues with not being able to release something unless, of course, you know, like maybe the original artist is like, hey, can you like take down this cover because I don't want people saying, you know, like, but I'm sure I would like check that stuff first before I even worked on it. She spent her own money for a project and Niji forced her to private it. Japanese agencies are such power-hungry organizations. I think it really depends on how much they're willing to invest in their talents, and maybe, I don't know, you know, I can't say, but maybe they're just thinking that the EN market is just not as profitable as like the Japanese and the Chinese market. I don't know. I'll be honest, I don't know. But hopefully, I feel bad for Pomu's fans. I know that like at this point, when a big corporate VTuber graduates, usually it's like, oh, you know, like, I'll see you later. Wink, wink, you know, I'll see you around. So I don't know if Pomu plans to like go back to streaming just under a different persona. But I think it was just in the past, like, I don't think we've ever had such big VTubers before. Like, VTubing as an industry didn't really pick up, I think, until like maybe 2020, 2021. And, you know, they've kind of gained that fan base now. And like, streaming just has become this huge thing. So before, when someone quote unquote graduated, no one was really sure like whether or not they graduated because they just had, you know, life plans, and those life plans didn't involve content creation anymore as a streamer, or maybe they were going on to like work as a corporate VTuber, right? Like that was like a big thing. And that would give people hope, right? But now that like big names are graduating, it's kind of like you know, wink and a nod, like, okay, she's graduating, but where's she gonna go? But we can never discount the fact that maybe she's just not gonna come back. You know, like maybe she's not gonna come back to streaming, because graduation also could just mean that she's going to stop streaming altogether. Pomu has mentioned that she's going back to school. Oh, so maybe she might not go back to streaming. I hate that word. I know. I also don't like it. Like, it's why there's like a lot of things that I find particularly strange about VTubing culture, and maybe it's because I didn't know much about idol culture either. So, you know, as kind of an offshoot of idol culture, VTuber culture has kind of grown into its own thing. I never had a debut, right? Like, I just started streaming with my Vroid, and I think you guys know this. When I kind of like redid my face and, you know, my model, I didn't announce it. I literally just one day turned on the new model and I was like, okay, this is me now, you guys. You know, like, I hope you like the new change. I didn't make a big fuss about it. I don't really have lore. People asked me like, what's your lore, you know? So I had to make something up, and I was like, this is the best thing that I can make up in 10 minutes. Like, I'm definitely, you know, a girl that used to be a dog, 100%. And then there's this whole, I remember that day, right, John? We went right into Jump King right afterwards. As much as I refused to debut, I refused to graduate. Yeah, like, I'm gonna tell you this right now, okay? For like the 10 people in here, one, I probably will never say I'm going on hiatus or I'm going to graduate. Okay? If I tell you that I'm going to be gone for a while, I usually don't use the word hiatus. Even when I like was traveling for work and I was gone for 2 weeks or something, I have never said I'm going on hiatus. I'm pretty sure when I move next year in April or May, I'm not sure when I'm moving yet. I think it's April. But next year when I move in April, I'm probably not going to use the word hiatus either. I might use that word because we use that in writing. I mean, yeah, I'll say like, oh, I'm going to be gone for a little bit, but I probably won't use the word hiatus. And the words indefinite hiatus and graduation, guys, I'm telling you this right now, straight from the start, okay? Because I am a very motivated person. I love content creation. I've just discovered so many cool people doing so many cool projects, and it's something that I've always wanted to do. Even before I started streaming, I wanted to make sewing videos or YouTube videos of anything, something, baking, you know, whatever it was. I wanted to be able to film it, record it, edit it, and put it up on YouTube. Streaming just makes it a lot easier for me because I don't have to make super curated content. And sometimes, you know, we'll do baking together and that's fine. Like, I get to do the content creation without doing like the super hard work of editing it afterwards. My edited content is, you know, my like ASMR audio recordings. And also my like music endeavors that I've recently got into. I enjoy it so much. Like, this is something I've always wanted to do. I know it's not making me any money. I wish it would, but if I could make money from it, you know, I would never stop. So I'm telling you guys this right now for the 10 people here. If I ever tell you that I am going on indefinite hiatus or that I'm going to graduate, I need everyone to have their ears up and be like, did Princess just get hired by an agency? Because that is what that means. I'm telling you this, that's what that means. I would never use the word indefinite hiatus or graduation. Because even if I like put down my VTubing face, I will probably still create content with my real face. If you say you're graduating, we know it's a call for help or you were replaced by an alien. Got it. Yep, true. Yay, anime friends. Be shoujo sniffing around, Princess. I'm too small. I feel like as a creator, I'm too small for any of the agencies. I don't pull as much numbers because there are so many like VTubers out there. I think the biggest thing is like VTubing as a niche is no longer a niche. You know, many people enjoy watching VTubers, and you have VTubers for all sorts of different content, whether it's playing video games or doing ASMR or, you know, doing podcasts, doing video essays. VTubing has just become a medium in which people are expressing their thoughts and their feelings, right? And there are huge VTubers out there that are indie that have so much of a better chance than me to like make it into an agency like that. Like what are they gonna do? You know, hire someone who gets like what, like 15 people a stream at like 1,000 followers? It's like, personally, I think that's unheard of. My numbers are like laughable. I'm like the tiniest of tinies. And the only reason people know me now, probably, is because of the VTuber Symphony Orchestra, which, by the way, you guys should definitely check out the cover, because the cover is amazing. But, you know, that's fine. I don't mind. I'm just gonna be in my corner of Twitch. I think my main goal is to have fun. Like, my main goal for streaming is to have fun, to share these like gaming moments with people and like share in the moment of like experiencing something for the first time, because I'll never be able to experience beating Jump King for the first time again. Maps, sure. Maps, whatever. But like, I've beaten other maps, so I know I can beat this map, you know? But the very first Babe, that's a special moment, you know? And like experiencing that by watching a new person play, I think I understand why people watch streamers, you know, like watching someone play Final Fantasy X and getting to kind of like the climax of the story and figuring out, dang, you have to like, you know, do this to all of your things. Like, that's a moment that I can never experience again because I know it's coming, right? So I'm gonna try to not, you know, attach myself to whatever is gonna happen in the later on in the story. But there's still so many games that I haven't played, and I think it's mainly because like as a kid I never got a chance to experience this with my brother, with my sister. Hold on, I think my stream is like yo-yoing into the red. Okay, But I think it's because, you know, like, I just never got the chance to experience playing video games with my family members. And so the need for, like, companionship, I guess, when I play these games is, like, a really big desire of mine to, like, be able to share this with everyone. And, you know, we have, like, a lot of fun. So, yeah, we keeping you for ourselves anyway. Yeah. Because, like, the other thing is, it is a bit, but it's aight. Okay. The other thing is, I don't know, right? Like, when you go from having a chat of, like, 10 people to a chat of 1,000 people, like, what does that look like as someone who's looking at chat and someone who's playing video games too? What does that look like for the creator? Like, having to respond, but also trying to focus on the game and provide, like, an entertaining experience? I think chat would move too fast. So, maybe that's just me. I don't know. I am happy with what I do now. It is comfortable. It is the right pace for me. But, you know, maybe as I get more used to it, maybe I will want to shoot higher. But I think for now, as long as I'm having fun. Ooh, and then the other thing is I really want to use my platform to, like, uplift others. Mainly my streamer friends that I've gotten to know. People who have supported me. I want to be kind of like their megaphone. I guess is, like, a good way to put it. I want to be able to tell everyone, not just you guys, my community, right? But, like, maybe random people who come in. I would love for them to, like, check out my friends who stream. Because I know so many people who are doing cool things, you know, on YouTube, on Twitch, and they are so talented, but they barely get any eyes on the work that they're doing. So you know, as someone who has a platform, I would love to use it for good, so that I can uplift the people in my life. It gets scary. When chat goes too fast, talking to chat becomes harder. Yeah, and I like this connection that we have, you know, like, it's a nice pace for me. So, sorry, I'm gonna get off my soapbox now. But yes, if I tell you I'm graduating, or if I'm telling you I'm going on an indefinite hiatus, please be on the lookout for another VTuber that sounds exactly like me, that loves dogs and loves Jump King. They may be talented, but are they people persons though? Not trying to be a dick. I think some of them are. I will say, I think some of them are people persons, but it's true. Sometimes people who have a lot of talent don't necessarily market themselves in a way that's conducive to getting more eyeballs on their work. I will still support them regardless, you know, but... What happened? Oh, I was just pausing to, you mean there's some point you have to make another disappearance act? No, I was just talking about if I ever say I'm going to graduate or go on indefinite hiatus. I will look for a corpo that has at least one stream per week with Jump King and dogs. Exactly, Yui. Like, if there is a VTuber out there that debuts and smashes all of the Jump King maps in one stream and also getting over it, you know it's me. That's how I'm going to debut myself as an agency VTuber. I'll be like, all right, for today we have planned Jump King and getting over it, and I'll fake playing noon. I wouldn't even fake playing bad. I would just speedrun the first map and then go into the second map and speedrun that, and then the third map and speedrun that, and it would be like, people would be like, dang, she's cracked, and then I would beat 3 maps and then turn it off and then turn getting over it on, and then I would just speedrun that as well. Vincent, hello, how are you? Hello, welcome in. Vincent is one of the VTubers I met through the ASMR podcast. He does a lot of streaming as well as ASMR audios. He hasn't released a new one recently, but he does editing for other ASMR artists. So check Vincent out. Hello, welcome in. How are you? I just woke up. Well, we are going to be doing some silly voice acting, so I hope you enjoy. Gotta sell yourself and cultivate, keyword, a community. Some days when I'm bored, I watch sub 10 concurrent viewers, and you can tell why they have sub 10 concurrent. Ooh. That being said, not everyone wants to go big. That's true too. I guess that's the other side of the coin, is like people who do get a lot of big numbers on YouTube or on Twitch, they are just comfortable with it being exactly the way it is, and they don't strive to, you know, go pro in it. Such a weird way to say it, like go pro in an agency or, you know, become corporate. I get that. Like maybe you've crafted this identity that's just become you, and when you become a corporate VTuber, aside from VShoujo, right? Like when you become a corporate VTuber, you do have to give up who you were before. And that is a really hard sell for a lot of people, especially if, you know, this avatar that you've crafted is, you know, personal and meaningful to you. You know how it would be, you know, it would be a glorious start. It would be so funny. I'll release tomorrow. Oh, yay! Can't wait for your new audio then. Okay. The last great exhibition that was held in London had more than 6 million visitors, it seems. Also, happy Friday, Vincent. I hope you have a good one before the weekend. And this time, the British are determined to make it an even bigger success to outdo the Paris exposition. I see. That's an incredible number of people. And with so many people expected to attend, we should easily be able to slip in unnoticed. There's always the honest approach of buying tickets at the main entrance, Mr. Naruhodo. Ah, I see. That's the tower that's being built. Is there anything else for us to examine? I know we have to go see the Garadevs. Maybe if we... options. Nope. How do I go... Am I supposed to look at something? Where's the option to, like... That's not it. Cernan, hello, welcome in. How are you? Hello, hello. Uh-oh, how do I bring back the thing? Like the move and the... Oh, there we go. Move. We can buy tickets at the front. Naruhodo. Okay, let's go to the Garadev's room. On the way home from the gym? I hope you had a good workout, Cernan. Welcome in, welcome in. Here we are again, the eccentric landlord's eccentric top floor abode. We're here because Mr. Garadeb's the one who discovered the incident this morning. Don't forget. Oh, you chaps, eh? Yes, good morning, sir. Thank you for your cooperation in court yesterday. It was quite a trial. As much for Mr. Garadev as anyone, really. Came straight back here after all that business at the Bailey yesterday. Didn't expect to wake up to more Bali nonsense this morning. Be safe. My brain is fried again. We'll already pass the bad spot. Oh, good. Okay. I heard it's snowing. I don't know if it's snowing where you're at, but I hope you're staying safe, Cernan. But welcome, welcome. I wonder if you wouldn't mind telling us exactly what happened, Mr. Garadeb. Yes, I suppose you'd like to know all about that dead loss of an actor chap in the ground floor. Those were exactly Inspector Gregson's words, weren't they? It was snowing, now it's just slightly frozen slush and cold. The cold feels glorious. I can't, I hate the cold. The cold is the worst thing for me about winter time. Except Elsa in your heart. It must have been a real shock for you this morning. I hear that you discovered what had happened. Ah, well, that hopeless actor chap rises at 5 o'clock sharp every morning without fail. But at 5:30 this morning, he still hadn't lit the gas. So I went down and knocked on his door, but no bally answer.
And that's when you broke into his room by kicking down the door?
I don't know why I said it like that. Well, I called on that rum-looking Japanese chap to do the grunt work, of course. Wasn't it a little premature to kick the door down? The man could have just overslept by half an hour.
That's very true, Mr. Naruhodo. If 30 minutes oversleeping warranted such behavior, I'd have to kick your door down every morning.
Well, you know, better to be safe than sorry and all that. Is it just me, or is he avoiding our gaze now all of a sudden? Talking with a couple of the girls about the fact that this -2 has nothing compared to winters with -50 growing up. Oh my goodness, that is insane. I cannot imagine living somewhere that goes down to -50. Goodness. I love Susato. I also love Susato. She is so cute.
Except that it was a sorry situation indeed that you found on the far side of the door.
The victim's name is Mr. Shampspeare, I believe. Is that right? Yes, William Shampspeare took the ground floor room 3 months ago now. It's not cold until your eyelashes and hair freeze. Then you need a coat. Oh god. -50. I worked in Winnipeg for 1 winter and never again. Oh, are all those really like cold places?
And how would you describe him?
In a word, destitute.
Destitute?
Well, let's face it, the only redeeming feature of that room is the cheap rent. Anyone wanting to live in a place like that is either broke or has a bally screw loose. So hard to choose which category Soseki-san would fall into.
Mr. Naruhodo, that's a little rude.
The cold of here is good enough for me. I know, California cold is like still cold to me. It was like, let me see here. What's the temperature right now? It's like 53 outside and like my toes are freezing. So I don't know what that is in Canadian not freedom units. 53 is probably what, like maybe 10? Maybe 12? You have to plug in your car in the sidewalk in Winnipeg so it doesn't freeze. You have to plug in your car. Oh, what? Really? Just cold. You kind of power through it, but when it's cold and it's snowing, that's when it really sucks. Yeah, we had to do that back home too. You Americans and your freedom units. I'm wearing socks to keep my toes warm. 53 is about 11. I'm a fucking genius, you guys. Right on the money. Right on the money. Research? Into what? Shakespeare, of course. Shakespeare! I read a few plays of the old bard myself, you know, Romeo and Hamlet and all that.
Yes.
11? That's warm. 11 is very warm. I'm cold. I'm cold right now. It's 11 and I'm cold. I'm wearing a sweater with 2 layers underneath. I'm wearing like long pajama pants. I have socks on. I'm tucking my toes underneath my thighs and I have a blanket over my laps. I'm sorry, it's very cold for me right now. Our vehicles have block heaters in them to prevent the whole thing freezing. Show says weak. It's 26 here in your weird units. That sounds, I've never lived in a place that went below 0. Below 32, which is 0, I think, in your units. That's cold. Very cold. 11, I would maybe consider wearing a hoodie. Oh no, you would die in the north. I 100% would die in cold weather. It's not even like a question.
Yes, William Shakespeare is England's most highly regarded classical playwright and author. He's also known as Sao in Japanese, as you know, and many of his works have already been translated.
It seems incredible that Shakespeare was shortened to Sao, though. Someone was too heavy-handed there. There were a lot of costumes in the victim's room, actually, weren't there?
Of course, Mr. Natsume is a scholar of English literature as well. I imagine he and Mr. Shampspeare would have had much in common.
I could totally see Princess being part of a Hallmark Christmas movie where she moves up north to inherit a library or something. If you would ever come visit for Costco Poutine, make sure to come in the summer. Oh, 100%. We will not be visiting in the winter time. Shakespeare interpretation disagreement leads to shocking murder. Let's hope it's not that.
Mr. Naruhodo, really? How rude.
Oh, nope. It did the wrong thing. Just need to bundle you up like the Michelin Man. Just, you know, like, I'm just going to be, oh my god, make my dream come true. I need everyone to bring yellow blankets and wrap me up so I can be like the biggest Miss Pac-Man and just roll me around everywhere. That's what I want. Just roll me around as a big yellow Pac-Man. That would be a dream come true for me. Thank you. After Mr. Natsume's trial yesterday, you came straight back here, I believe, didn't you? Did you notice anything strange between then and this morning? Well, now, must have been about 6 in the evening by the time I got home. Snow was coming down rather heavily, as I remember, and it was completely dark already. Yes, lol. Yeah. Also, by the way, you guys, like... Oh, sorry. A little bit eepy. By the way, my ASMR YouTube just got monetized, like actual monetization for like ads and stuff as well. So I'm really excited. I finally can make some money. I don't think it'll be a lot of money, but I can actually monetize on my new channel. So that is very exciting news, you know? Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Snow was coming down rather heavily, as I remember, and it was completely dark already. That failed actor chap was out at the time. Thank you for the hydrate and the self-care. Thank you, Yui and Cernan in action. Guys, make sure you are hydrating and make sure you take some time to stretch. Make sure you stretch your arms. Stretch your neck. Get some time to stretch your back if you can. Okay. Sorry, just stretching my neck. Don't shrimp like me. Unshrimp right now. Right now I'm making some shin ramen noodle with an egg. Yum, that sounds delicious. Mr. Garadeb noticed there was no light from his room or something, I suppose. Couldn't summon the energy for anything much, so I just sat in front of the fire up here. It was after 8 before Shampspeare got back, and the chap was up until past 1 in the morning, I'll have you know. Suppose he met his end sometime after that. I was asleep by then, so I'm rather in the dark there. Well, thank you. That was very illuminating. Is everything all right, Miss Usato?
Well, I was just thinking it's a little strange, that's all. Mr. Garadeb, you were here up in your room all evening, if I've understood correctly.
Not a big fan of stairs. Not with this blasted leg.
Then, how is it that you seem to know? The precise movements of your tenant on the ground floor, I mean.
Ugh. That's a very good point. I can't imagine that you could hear noises from the ground floor all the way up here. Does the old man like to spy on his tenants? Is that it? I say, I know what you're thinking, and it's a bally outrage. I'm ex-military, don't you know? I don't go around spying on my tenants. Why would I?
Then how did you know, Mr. Garadeb?
It's the gas woman! The gas tells me everything! The gas? Speaking gas? What on earth do you mean, sir? How can the gas tell you anything, let alone everything? Well, as you're probably aware, the gas is supplied to the building by pipes. Yes, I'd more or less worked that out.
Every room in the building is connected by a single pipe to the gas main outside. And the gas company supplies gas to properties via the main.
Yes, I understand that too. Sorry. Ooh, I'm like a little bit sleepy today. Alright. Let me see if I can explain. Let's say I was to light the gas lamps up here. What do you suppose would happen? Well, obviously, the room would get brighter. Exactly, but at the same time, the lights in all the other rooms of the house would dim for a moment. I'm actually kind of sleepy too. Could be weather. That I'm feeling so tired, it could be because of the weather? Just opening another sand pie. Matcha sand pie. These cookies are so good, Duo. Thank you for sending them. What? They dim? Why? A sand pie, as it's called in Japanese. It's like a crispy pastry that has like matcha cream in it.
Perhaps it's because when you light a gas lamp, it briefly uses more gas than usual.
Makes you want to just curl into bed and sleep. Oh, true. Yes, very true. This is kind of like hot cocoa and curl up in blankets weather.
And that reduces the amount of gas in the pipe for the other lamps that are connected to it. That might explain why the other lamps dim momentarily, mightn't it?
Yes, of course, because everything's connected to a single supply pipe.
Is that supposed to happen, though? It sounds rather undesirable.
Jolly good point. Fact is, the gas company's pipes in these parts are pretty hopeless. Long worn out. And barely got any gas in them to start with. Opposite's also true, of course. Extinguish the lamps up here and they glow brighter in the rest of the house. Ah, right, I see. So, by watching the flickering of the lamps in one room, you can determine what's happening elsewhere. You've got it. Don't mind me. I'm just starving and slowly turning into a food gremlin that identifies as a family of 4. Rip my pantry. Food immediately catches my attention. How much longer until you're home, Cernan? Is Tengri making you dinner? Is Tengri gonna have dinner waiting for you? No problem. I might be going back to Japan on February. I'll send some omiyage for White Day. Oh my gosh. You really don't have to, Duo, but I will take it if you're sending it. I love Japanese snacks. Just waiting for the bus. Gotcha. Okay. Well, I hope the bus comes soon. We have leftovers so we can heat up quick. Oh, perfect. What's leftovers then? Tell me. I kind of wanted to make stew. I'm like, right now, I've gone back to the, I don't feel like anything food-wise seems appetizing. So, if I put it within close reach, which Duo's, like, package of matcha cookies are, like, just nice enough for me to set down on my desk. If I'm feeling hungry enough, I will be desperate enough to just open something, but when I have to consider cooking, I don't feel that anything's appetizing, so I don't want to cook anything. So I've gone into this thing where I'm like not eating again, and I'm like, I should probably eat something. So then I'm like, oh, a cookie. I can eat that. You've got it.
Oh, of course, because when people come back home in the evening and before they go to sleep at night, what they're guaranteed to do is either light or put out their lamps and fires.
Clever. In point of fact, the room on the ground floor and the one above it use slightly different amounts of gas. By watching the lights in here closely, I can work out almost exactly what's going on in the whole house.
Gosh, that's fascinating, Mr. Garadeb. Absolutely fascinating.
But I am really excited because tomorrow we're eating hot pot for D&D. So usually that's like already, you know, like just out and about on the table. So I might be able to eat my fill for the week. Oh, well, nothing to it really. And I can't really see that it's going to help us with this case either. Hot pot sounds yum. I know, it's because it's been so cold that like we were like hot pot. What I'd like to know is why Mr. Garadeb is so interested in what his tenants are up to in the first place. I feel like there's more to it than idle curiosity. Well, we've done as much investigating here as we can, I think. Perhaps we ought to go to the prison and speak with Mr. Natsume again.
A good idea.
Shabu shabu sounds good. It really does sound very tasty. There he is, the man of the hour.
Look, Mr. Naruhodo. Mr. Natsume, have the police finished questioning you now?
Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire! Oh, yes? What is he? Tell me, is he a ghost? Is he here to haunt me? Let me guess, you're talking about Mr. Sholmes.
He actually calls himself a great detective, Mr. Natsume, not a ghost.
But his diabolical deductions, they're not of this world. They've left me. Cursed! I'm cursed, I tell you! Well, that sort of hurts.
Credit where credit is due, Mr. Naruhodo. You were heavily involved in the deduction, too.
Yes, moving on, we have some wonderful news. Oh?
The victim that we all thought was dead has come back to life again.
Now, in the absolutely worst case, you could only be tried for attempted murder. That is such a quip. That's great, isn't it, Mr. Natsume? It's terrible!
Oh.
I'm stuck in this cell, suffering for some silly wrong end of the stick! Windswept bluff, my biggest weakness. You got this, John! You can totally do it! You got this! You got this! You did it, didn't you? Confess you're a killer! Why the mustache? Constant questions! I'm sorry to hear that. That selfish shyster! Make up your mind, are you dead or alive? If you were going to come back to life, why bother dying? Wickedly wishy-washy William! Well, it seems likely that Shampspeare was never actually dead in the first place. Yes, that makes sense, and I'm pleased that he's alive, of course. Our lively debate last night was much fun. I'd be sad to think it was her last. Oh. Oops. Mr. Natsume, does this mean... Hi, Chrono, welcome in, thank you for the pie. That you did see the victim last night. You met with Mr. Shampspeare, didn't you? I'm not saying another word. I demand to have a lawyer present. Who do you think I am? I really need to set an alarm for streams, but hi, no worries, Misa. Welcome in. Hello, how are you? Never late. You only missed maybe like 10 minutes because I was talking a lot, but welcome in. How are you, Miso? I hope you're having a good evening. What we've done so far is we have examined the street outside, and then we went back to talk to Mr. Garadeb in the Garadeb household, and then we moved to the prison, and now we're talking to Mr. Soseki here. We haven't been talking to Natsume Soseki for long, so you haven't missed much. That is all. I will now bed. Okay, good night. I like to hear you talk too, though. It's fine. You can always catch the VOD. It wasn't anything super exciting. Please, Mr. Natsume, but welcome in Miso. I hope you're having a good Thursday, by the way, and I hope that you have one last day of work that's easy, or school. And then it's the weekend! Woo! Friday, Friday. Gotta get down on Friday. We need to hear your side of the story. Why am I cursed like this? Friday approaches. Exactly. Can you tell us exactly what happened last night then, Mr. Natsume? There's nothing to tell! But, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire, I'm eternally grateful to you for helping me with that accursed case yesterday. The case that saw poor Miss Green hospitalized after she ended up with a knife in her back.
It's hard to believe that was only yesterday.
After the trial was over, I trudged my weary way back to my lowly lodgings. And that evening, at past 9, it must have been, I visited Mr. Shampspeare. So, you did go to the victim's room then?
As we feared.
I didn't do anything wrong! I'd never been to his room before! It was the first time! Then, what made you decide to go? I bumped into him when I arrived back at the house. We got chatting and it developed into a discussion. But he had to go out, so I bade him farewell. Mr. OK Esquire is our name. No, our name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo, but, Natsume Soseki just likes to call us Esquire student. Actually, I don't know what Esquire means. What does Esquire mean, you guys? I don't actually know that. Tell me, I'm gonna continue reading this. If someone can look it up for me, I would appreciate it. That ties in with what Mr. Garadev said, that the victim went out and came back after 8. We met again later that evening at around 9 or just after, when I took him some nice tea I had brewed as a gift. So, it was you who brought the tea that had clearly been drunk at the scene then.
And I suppose you were discussing the works of Shakespeare, weren't you?
Yes, that's right. That's exactly right. Romeo and Juliet. Who was the stronger? It was a delightful debate.
I'm sure.
Such a stimulating subject, Shakespeare! And the debate became very heated, so you slipped poison in to make Mr. Shampspeare's tea. No, never, not at all. Naruhodo, alright, understand, okay. Noun Esquire. A member of the English gentry, ranking below a knight. I got food. Welcome back with food. Oh, okay. I guess so. Okay, Esquire. Is that like a thing? I don't know. Is that like some kind of pun? I'm trying to think right now. Because like it's always puns with Ace Attorney, right? Team Juliet won! That was me! When I left his room, the flamboyant fellow was fighting fit! I swear it categorically! Mr. Natsume, you often say the same thing about yourself, I've noticed. That you have a cursed existence. I'm sure I've mentioned this to you before, but I've been here in Great Britain for a year now, and in that time, I've learned that it's no place for me.
It can be very trying to live in a foreign land and adapt to the ways of another culture.
There are foreigners everywhere I look, and they all stare at me. They all laugh. That's the impression I get whenever I go out. It makes me scared to leave my room. Which is why I've become a recluse. But even in my room, I find no respite from my fears. I moved more times than I can remember, and then 1 week ago, I moved into Briar Road. Thanks for the recap. I'm out of ADHD meds, so I'm feeling blit and tired. I haven't been too affected by the ongoing med shortage until now. I hope I can get at least a refill of something before the weekend. If I disappear, it might be because I fell asleep. Being out of my meds is probably why I have fallen asleep during a couple of your streams lately. No worries, Miso. I do hope that you are able to get a refill of your prescription because, going from being medicated to not medicated is really hard, and I hope that, you know, give yourself some grace, be kind to your body, and you know what your body needs most. So take it easy. We will be here if you ever want to talk to us, but if not, you're welcome to just chill and hang out. And if you fall asleep, that would make me so happy, because that means that you can chill in here and feel comfortable enough to just be like, I'm going to bed now. It is a pun, yeah? I see, I see. Okay, Esquire. Okay, Esquire. I don't know what it's supposed to be. Okay, Esquire? Mr. Okay, Esquire. Is that supposed to mean something? But why? I mean, why did you choose that place? It doesn't seem very comfortable. Because the rent is cheap. I have so little money. It spoke to me. The rent? Obviously, there's a reason why it's cheap. Because the room is cursed. Cursed? Cursed how? The previous occupant, the man who lived there before I took the room, died there. Oh no! He was only a young man, but one morning he was found dead, and no one could explain why. Surely no one would want to live in a room with a history like that. I didn't. When the letting agent recommended the place, I wavered. But I want books! Books cost money! A horrible history is a small price to pay. When I realized that it would mean I could buy more books, I signed the lease like lightning. Brave, or blinkered. But after I moved in, I soon came to realize what I'd done. I realized how horrible that room's history really was. An okay lawyer, probably. Oh, I see, okay. Yeah, of course, Miso. Anytime, anytime. Was it really that awful?
How did the room's horrible history affect you, Mr. Natsume? What happened?
At first, it was just the feeling of beady eyes boring into my back, watching me. Do you think that might have just been your mind playing tricks on you? No. My mind doesn't know any tricks. It was someone else. It's been one long nightmare ever since I was given keys to that place. A nightmare? You've been having bad dreams, you mean? All the souls who died in that room lean over me in my sleep and try to strangle me. That really is horrible. And now, I come to think of it, it happened again last night too. The very same night that Mr. Shampspeare was writhing in agony from the poison in his body. I was on the verge of being suffocated silently by those miserable spirits in my room.
You simply must move out of that room as soon as possible.
Yes, you're right. I know it, and that's why I'm already searching for the next room with a history to call home.
I think perhaps you should try to avoid accommodation with any kind of history at all. Otherwise, I'm scared that you yourself may become history.
Whew, Susato-san knows how to make the man listen. I fell asleep a little at the end of the last DR2 stream. I need to go watch it. And I'm glad that you find it flattering if people fall asleep. I have often played Ace Attorney games while falling asleep in bed. So my brain probably has an association there. Yeah, no worries. The brain is a funny thing, right? What was I gonna say? I totally forgot. Well, I guess if I forgot, it wasn't super important. Of course. Mr. Lord of the Manor is worried about the oh, that's what I was gonna say. I bet you, it really does sound, and I'm calling it, it really does sound like carbon monoxide poisoning or something. Cause, clearly, Mr. Soseki here can't breathe, right? So, he's saying he can't breathe. He feels like he's being strangled, and, he says he sees people leaning over his bed to, choke him. And, our brains are weird. When we fall asleep, if something happens to our body, our brain is going to find a way to rationalize it to make sense of that sensory, input, right? So the fact that like maybe there's carbon monoxide poisoning happening where he can't breathe because like there's a gas leak or something, it would feel like he's suffocating, and in his mind his brain is making up the fact that he's like being choked. So, and then with the William Shampspeare guy, he was maybe just like again like inhaled too much carbon monoxide, and when we introduced fresh air into the room, he started to wake up because he was like his body finally got enough oxygen in it. So I think that's my theory for this. This is my theory that it was Mr. Garadeb and Mrs. Garadeb all along. They just cheaped out too much, and the gas pipes are leaking in the home. It makes sense. Mr. Saucy Nutmeg. That sounds like sleep paralysis or some other medical issue. True, very true. You mean Mr. Garadeb? Yes, he knows that if people keep dying there, he'll never be able to rent it out again. Well, that's true. I, for one, wouldn't go near the place.
Ah, perhaps. That may explain why the landlord pays so much attention to the gas lamps and his tenants' movements.
You mean because he's worried about their well-being? He does seem to have an unusually keen interest in the amount of gas in the pipes. There must be a reason why he keeps such close tabs on the occupants of his let rooms. What do you mean? He pays so much attention to the gas lamps.
Oh dear, no, it's nothing to do with you, Mr. Natsume. Please forget I said anything. Creed, hello, welcome in. How are you? Welcome, welcome.
Gas power is so scary. I hate living in a house with a gas stove, actually. It's scary, but I also live in a place with a gas stove, and I've just learned to, like, accept it, you know? Because that's just how it's gonna be. But welcome in, Creed. Actually, I'm gonna pause, because I did make, like, a dinner thing for myself. Like, I just cooked some chicken. I threw it in when I was feeling particularly motivated, so I have like chicken with salt and pepper that I can probably eat for dinner. But while I'm gone, you guys, please take this chance to get some water, get some snacks. I'm gonna go grab some food, and I will be RB. All right, stretch your legs. It's really important. Okay, see you guys in a bit. I just realized that that is like not correct. Why is it offset like that? That's not right. Why did it do that? Hold on. I like have this overwhelming need to like fix it. Why did it resize itself like that? Usually doesn't do that. Sorry, I'm faffing with it on stream right now. Oh god. Okay. Because if I don't do it right now, I'm gonna forget, and I don't wanna forget. Okay, I think that's good enough for now. Okay. What'd you guys get while I was gone? Go eat. Chicken. Are you giving bones to Hermes? I never give Hermes bones. I'm too scared that my poor idiot child boy is going to, choke on bones, so I never give him bones. I will always cut out a piece of the chicken, or if I'm having salmon, I'll give him a piece of the salmon. So like, usually what I'll do is, when I cook whatever protein I'm cooking, I don't season it. I just kind of bake it in the air fryer, because it's the most low effort thing that I can do, right? I just put it on the tray, put it into the air fryer, and then I just press one button, because there's usually presettings for like chicken or fish or whatever. So I press one button. When I come back, usually it's done. What I'll do is I'll cut a piece of it for Hermes and let it cool down, and then I just season the other piece that I eat. Surrounded by beer and snacks. That sounds fantastic.
Oh dear, no, it's nothing to do with you, Mr. Natsume. Please forget I said anything.
Oh, now you're talking about me behind my back as well. What's important is that Mr. Shampspeare isn't in fact dead at all. Once he's come round and he's able to tell us what happened, we'll be able to get you released. Yes, please. Oh, I do hope you're right. Excuse me. Inspector Gregson. I couldn't help overhearing what you just said, and on that note, I have some good news and some bad news. Oh. Which do you want first? Always, every time, the bad news comes first. When hope is all you have, hold on to it. That's my guiding principle. Right, well, in that case, the good news, it is. Oh my god, what a jerk. Huh? Sorry, but it's just a lot easier to explain everything that way. Then why did you ask? Then why did you ask me my preference? As you might have heard, the victim, Mr. Shampspeare, was just unconscious. He's come round now. Yes, we saw it happen in all its terrifying glory. Making noms, so I'll be in and out. No worries, Tangri. Welcome in. I hope you have a good evening. Making some noms for you and Cernan. He's still being treated by the doctors, but we managed to get a written statement from him already.
Oh, isn't that wonderful, Mr. Natsume?
Oh, thank goodness. It's all over then. I can leave this somber cell. Sorry, no, that's not on the cards. Why not? You just said that he's not dead. What? Why ever not, Inspector? Mr. Shampspeare has implicated someone as being responsible for what happened last night. Implicated someone?
Oh dear.
Back to lurk. Sorry, I vanished. Dad called. Distracted me from the wind. I go warm up now. No worries, Cernan. Please, have a good lurk. Thank you for the lurk. I appreciate you. Hi, Princess. Congrats again. Oh, thank you, Tangri. I appreciate you. I cannot believe it. Guys, if you don't know what Tangri is referencing, I recently hit 1,300 subs on the ASMR YouTube channel. And, it was crazy because I hit 1,000, like, on Saturday? And then I hit 1,000, like, or I hit 1,300 last night. So I was meaning to make like a New Year's post as well as like a thank you for 1,000. So I just didn't have time. And then when I had time to sit down to put it together, I was at 1,300. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna put this community post out now. But yeah, It's crazy. I don't know what I'm gonna do for like a 1K special or whatever, I guess.
Oh dear.
You don't mean... I'm sorry to say I do, yes. He's pointed the finger at you, Mr. Natsume. Ah! How dare he? By sweet poison did he seek it to end my life. That wicked caitiff, Soseki Natsume. No! So I'm afraid you'll be appearing in court as planned. You'll be wanting to make the necessary preparations. No! Dude, he has the worst luck. And so once again, Soseki found himself having to take the dock in the Old Bailey. Whether his room was haunted or whether he was just terribly unlucky, I knew I had no choice. The following day, I would represent him in court and do my utmost to break the curse that blighted him. Oh, nice, we finished another section. Sorry, I'm also trying to eat this piece of chicken that I heated up. Are you saved? The Old Bailey. This place always makes me feel strange. I seem to get chills down my spine and break out in a nervous sweat all the time. Well, I didn't think I'd be back here so soon. That's my line. That's my line? Oh, that's my line. Good morning. Ah, good morning, Mr. Natsume. It was only 2 days ago that I was declared not guilty here. Yes, we somehow managed to prove he didn't stab Miss Green in the back. But now this! Another morning, another murder, and here I am again in this hellhole. Can't keep coming to court! I'm beginning to think he's right. It really does seem as though he's cursed.
Mr. Naruhodo, I'm afraid I have bad news. Oh. Mr. Natsume, good morning.
Yes, morning.
So here we are again.
Yes, again. Judicial Assistant Miss Mikotoba Esquires, what's the bad news? Oh dear, you heard, did you? If you come in shouting at the top of your voice, people can't help hearing what you say.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You've done nothing wrong, Miss Susato. Now, what is it?
Well, it seems that the prosecution in today's trial will be led by Lord Barack Van Zeeks.
Van Zeeks? Oh my god, it's my man. It's my man, you guys. I've been waiting a whole year to see him again. Van Zeeks? Ah! Oh no! Oh no, no! The so-called Reaper of the Bailey, the most legendary prosecutor in the land. In the trial 2 days ago, he pursued Soseki-san and I relentlessly. Of course, by the skin of our teeth. We managed to pull through, but still. Van Zeeks! I love his character, me too. Perhaps Mr. Natsume's acquittal in the last trial wasn't the end of the matter. After all. Yes, I know what you're thinking. The legend of the Reaper that says, nothing can save a person in the dock when Lord Van Zeeks is the prosecutor. Oh no! That even if that person is found not guilty, the accused will meet a mysterious end one way or another.
And we've experienced it firsthand. A man we successfully defended met the most terrifying end after his acquittal. Right here in the Old Bailey. Do I have to put up with those ice-cold eyes boring into my soul again? Cursed by evil spirits and now by the Reaper. Pair of petrifying perils, potentially! This guy, in my defense, don't know about him too much. Just trying to be dramatic. Don't hate him. I'm trying to be dramatic. It did not work.
Well, if it's potentially, at least you appear to have hope, Mr. Natsume.
Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Yes? I'm innocent. You have to believe me. You more than anyone now. Don't worry. I'll be your steadfast ally every step of the way in this battle. I promise. And this promises to be a hard battle, I fear.
Well, the trial is scheduled to begin shortly. We should move into the courtroom.
Let's go. Oh yes, I forgot to say. I'm afraid he won't be able to make it. Mr. Sholmes, I mean. That's probably for the best.
Oh.
If he were here, I might be tempted to rely on his help. And that could be seen as a weakness. If Lord Van Zieks were to notice, he'd prey on it mercilessly. At least that's my gut feeling. You're right. Yes, you're so right. Oh, well said, Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Well said. I swear on this sword at my side and on the spirit of Kazuma that it harbors. Alright, pop off. Just wear the sword of your dead best friend and say that it has his spirit in it. Okay, I see you. I'll show him what a Japanese lord can do. I'll set you free with honor.
Oh, yes.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. And now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is ready. The defense is ready, my lord. Readiness for the trial, my learned Nipponese friend, is not what the defense needs. What you need is readiness for your inevitable defeat. It's not just in my imagination, it's really there. Lord Van Zieks has such an animosity towards us Japanese for some reason.
It was some time ago now that he first became known as the Reaper of the Bailey, I believe.
Oops, sorry. My throat gurgled for a second because of the water I drank. Sorry.
These past few years, he hasn't appeared in court at all.
Yet now, he's back in the courtroom, though for some reason. Only when I'm defending. This Reaper, with his curious disdain for us Japanese, is a prosecutor shrouded in mystery. Still, this isn't the time to be pondering that. I have to concentrate on Soseki-san's trial. Furthermore, I now call upon the 6 ladies and gentlemen of the jury. You have been chosen at random to represent the will of the people in this trial. Are you ready to fulfill your duty?
Absolutely, I had a feeling this larrikin wasn't innocent before.
I must say that I feel especially ruthless on days when my hat refuses to sit right.
Oh, well, I rather like how you're wearing your hat. I think the ruthless look is very fetching, actually. I need to be somewhere at 10 o'clock. I have a very important meeting. Let's make this quick. I couldn't agree more. I need to take home 5 bob tonight or the missus will be through the roof. Oh, may the Lord show us all the light here and lead his flock to a righteous verdict.
The British jury system is so very different to our own, isn't it? It's quite extraordinary to think that the power of judgment is in the hands of 6 members of the public, and that the judge can only pass sentence when all jurors are in agreement about the defendant's guilt.
6 citizens of London, chosen at random, or at least that's the idea. The prosecution would draw attention to the fact that the accused was on trial here but 2 days ago. Accordingly, where possible, the same jurors have been asked to return today. Very well, let us commence the trial. Lord Van Zeeks, your opening statement, please. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, it is not the intent of the prosecution to cast doubt over your past decision. However, the innocent verdict afforded to this eccentric Nipponese before has had dire consequences. Did the accused repent for his wrongdoing in that affair? Far from it. Instead, he uses his freedom to perpetrate a most blood-curdling crime. Namely, that of the attempted murder of his neighboring lodger, an innocent Englishman. To explain the circumstances of the crime, the prosecution calls its first witness to the stand. The detective responsible for investigating the scene, and the accused himself. I missed this man. Not these men. I missed this man right here. This guy over here. This guy. This handsome guy.
Witnesses, your name and occupations, please.
Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector at Scotland Yard's Homicide Division. So Seki Natsume from the Empire of Japan. My government ordered me to come here as a student to study your language and culture. Mr. Natsume? Yes, my lord, sir. I'm quite sure I'm not mistaken that you swore an oath never to set foot in my courtroom again. I remember it as if it were yesterday. The day before, in fact, my lord, but close enough. Believe me, this is the last place I want to be. Inspector, let's hear from you first. Explain the case for the court. Right you are, sir. The incident occurred at the Garadeb household where the defendant has lodgings. In the ground floor room of the victim, Mr. William Shampspeare. The defendant has already admitted to visiting the victim on the night in question. Mr. Shampspeare collapsed in his room as a result of poisoning by strychnine. Strychnine? Did I read that right? He was found the following morning when the landlord suspected something was wrong, broke down the door. Let's do this. Same 6 faces, same old prosecutor, same old place. It's actually not the same prosecutors. There is 1 or 2 that are slightly different. But maybe you don't remember from last year. This means, I presume, that the door to the victim's room was locked at the time of the incident? Correct, my lord. It was locked from the inside, making entry or exit from the room impossible. Although the victim, Mr. Shampspeare, lives to tell the tale, he very nearly didn't. The man was halfway to heaven when we first found him. I was the first officer on the scene, my lord. And I have a photographic print here that I took at the time to show how it looked. Yes, a chilling scene indeed. The man looks very much deceased. That's right. Everyone present believed that's exactly what he was. Very well, I shall accept this photographic print as evidence for the court. Now then, Mr. Natsume. Yes. As the defendant, do you have anything to say at this juncture? They're haunted. Haunted by evil spirits. Good gracious, what's haunted? My lodgings! There's been a whole series of strange happenings in my lodgings. The tenant before me died in mysterious circumstances. A woman was stabbed by no one on the street. My neighbor was poisoned, and me. What about me? I've nearly been killed countless times. Killed, Mr. Natsume? How? Even on that fateful night, it happened. When I returned from Mr. Shampspeare's room, I lit my gas stove and climbed into bed, but before long, the stove went out and somebody tried to kill me. You must always extinguish all fires before retiring for the night, Mr. Natsume. But it's so cold, my runny nose would freeze. The point is, I didn't poison my neighbor. Oh, why am I being accused of this? Why is my existence so cursed? I love how no one bothered to take his pulse or notice his breathing. I know. I feel like, is this just a commentary on, like, criminal investigations in the past, you know, where, like, they didn't really, have a set procedure, maybe? But, like, I feel like it's pretty common to, like, go up to the person and check if they're alive. No? Maybe that's just me having a crumb of, like, you know, like, common sense, but I don't know. If I could raise one more point, my lord, one more conclusive point. Conclusive? Go on. Fortunately, the victim, Mr. Shampspeare, has regained consciousness after this ordeal. Did you ever see the Reddit post where a Redditor was having super weird stuff happening, like finding notes around that they didn't remember writing, and it turned out to be CO poisoning? Yes! So miso. Yeah, so that's why I think this is like carbon monoxide poisoning, is because I hear that, like, I read that story, and I just know in general, when you use gas heaters like this, it's a very real problem that you're supposed to often air out the room. Because I know this because I lived in Japan, right? And I had to use a kerosene heater. And so I would get, you know, a tank of kerosene and I would fill it up. And during the winter time, there would be like a fire truck that would go around our neighborhood that would remind us to open the windows. So because of that experience of living in Japan, and because I know that this is a thing that happens, I'm like, I feel like it's carbon monoxide poisoning. Like, I feel like, especially because they say that this building is really run down and kind of like dilapidated and stuff, I don't think the landlord would take care of the pipes, the gas pipes. And so I think that's why it's like, it's, you know, just, not a good time for people who, you know, want to live there. Thank you for the head pat. No wonder you're not that scared of a gas stove in comparison. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Fortunately, the victim, Mr. Shampspeare, has regained consciousness after his ordeal. And he has named the true culprit. The poison consumed by the victim was administered in a cup of tea that he drank on the night in question. Tea, my lord, that was brought to the victim's room by the accused. The accused? Good grief! Order! Order! Yes, that's the crux of this whole case. If Soseki-san is innocent, then why? Why has the victim accused him? Well, Mr. Natsume, what have you to say to this accusation?
That evening, yes. I did take some freshly brewed tea with me when I visited Mr. Shampspeare's room. As a gift. The public water pump outside always freezes at night, so I bottled water especially to make it. And this is the result. Never will I touch tea again, never!
The public pump was frozen, you say?
That's not information we've heard before.
That will do, thank you. Now, according to our laws, the defense must have the opportunity to cross-examine witnesses at least once. Therefore, I call upon these witnesses now for a formal testimony. I presume the prosecution has no objection.
None whatsoever, my lord.
Good, then you will give your account of events on the night in question to the court now. Yes, my lord.
It was around 9 o'clock that evening when I visited my neighbor. I took some tea with me as a gift.
Poor saucy Nutsmeg, and then he goes back to Japan and gets dragged into another case! Oh, but this time he was just a witness and not the actual crime committer, you know?
We had a heated literary debate over a nice hot drink, after which I went back to my room at around 11. My tea was completely harmless. He couldn't have locked the door behind me otherwise, could he?
Strychnine takes some time to have an effect on the body. People don't keel over immediately after taking it. The victim would have been perfectly able to lock the door after his guest left. The argument still stands. It's not quite as bad. He's just, you know, he just really does have, like, the worst luck, truly. This character is, like, yakety sax, a man of shenanigans. He still needs therapy that hasn't even been invented yet. It's true.
Yes, I see. It all seems relatively straightforward.
Excuse me, but that testimony does raise one rather crucial point, I think. Mr. Natsume claims his tea to have been harmless. Presumably, though, the teacups have been examined for traces of the poison, haven't they?
Why didn't I think of that? Well, as it happens, no, we haven't been able to.
Did I hear that correctly, Inspector? Scotland Yard has failed to examine the suspect substance.
How could you have overlooked something so important? Isn't that the first thing you should have done? My learned Nipponese friend is falsely incensed. The inspector said Scotland Yard was unable to examine the tea, not that it was overlooked. Unable? Why? It's simple enough, there was none left, not a drop. Someone must have been very thirsty indeed. With our current scientific techniques, it's not possible to test for poison under such circumstances. Is that the excuse that they're gonna use? That, like, there wasn't enough to, like, test it? Alright, hold on. We only need a drop, but that one drop does actually have to exist, funnily enough. The ultimate unlucky student, that's true. The lack of examination notwithstanding, it appears nothing other than the tea passed the victim's lips on the night in question. He did have to breathe. I will remind everyone, breathing is something that everyone has to do. And it could still be carbon monoxide.
I see, thank you. The matter is clear.
Cast your eyes over the jury, my learned friend. What?
You can see it in their faces, I'm sure. The recognition of the accused's guilt. Your client's fate is all but sealed. In mere moments from now, you will lose, and your compatriot will be damned for all eternity. He's right. I can feel all 6 of the jurors looking daggers at me. But I can't let them beat me down. I won't! Counsel for the defense, proceed with your cross-examination. Yes, my lord.
Hold it!
Were you and your neighbor good friends then? Ugh, no, we weren't friends! Not at all, not at all! Never, ever! A simple no would have sufficed. Then, why did you decide to pay him a visit? Mr. Shampspeare fancies himself having great literary knowledge. And as a fellow scholar of English literature, we find much to talk about together. Come now, no Nipponese could understand that. Wow, what a racist comment. Finer points of English literature. And on the night in question, that was the topic of conversation as well, I presume. It was the day of my last trial when I was acquitted. I just arrived back at my lodgings when I ran into Mr. Shampspeare outside on the street. That was around 6 o'clock. We exchanged 1 or 2 pleasantries, but it soon turned into a heated discussion. He was on his way out at the time, though, so I promised to visit his room that evening at 9 to continue our debate, but did I have ill intentions? No! Not 1, not 2, not any! Not at all! Never, ever! A simple no would have sufficed, I feel. Then tell the court what did happen when you visited the victim's room. We had a... Oops, sorry. I hit the microphone. I'm so sorry.
Hold it!
A literary debate about Shakespeare's works, I think you said, didn't you? Shakespeare, huh? A very worthy topic of conversation, I must say. Oh, yes, my lord. Romeo and Juliet. Who was stronger? It was a profoundly pleasurable parley. Parley? Parley. Romeo and Juliet? Who was stronger? I know I'm going to regret asking this, but how did the debate go? Well, we both agreed that we would reach a conclusion more quickly with a reenactment. So we battled it out, in a Greco-Roman style, naturally. What? Mr. Shampspeare had all sorts of costumes in his room for just such a contest. So, when you say a reenactment, you mean you were actually in costume? He as Romeo, I as Juliet, and after a vigorous, wild tussle, I as Juliet came out on top! A victory I'll cherish forever! I dare not imagine the terrible scene of carnage. The fact remains that it was you who prepped the tea and took it to the victim, correct? I boiled the water in my room and made a pot to take with me. I'd heard that he was too poor to have tea himself, you see. It's true there was no sign of any tea leaves in the man's room. I wanted to do something nice, to be friendly. So why is everyone looking at me with such suspicion? My tea was harmless. Of course it was. Oops. Do you have any basis for that statement, witness? Tea was completely harmless. He couldn't have locked the door behind me otherwise. Yes, there was not a drop of tea left in the victim's room anywhere, was there? That's correct. Anyone would think the fellow had never had a pot of tea before. He must have licked it dry. Which is a pity, because one drop is all we would have needed to analyze it for poison. And you say that you returned home to your room at 11 o'clock, Mr. Natsume. Yes, definitely! By heaven and earth, I swear it! The landlord was able to verify that as it happens. He confirmed that the defendant went back to his room at 11 that night. And how was the landlord able to attest to this? He, said it was the lamps, I believe. The lamps, Inspector. When tenants return to their rooms and start using gas, the lamps in other parts of the house flicker.
Yes, Mr. Garrideb seems to pay a lot of attention to the comings and goings of his tenants.
There's only one key to Mr. Shampspeare's room. I know that for certain. So he must have locked the door himself from inside his room. The victim has confirmed that to be the case, yes. So I'm right, my tea was harmless, completely harmless. If you take poison, you die. Everyone knows that. It's not that simple, I'm afraid. Well, what do you mean? Strychnine takes some time to have effect on the body. People don't keel over immediately. How long does it take for symptoms to appear then? According to the coroner I was speaking to at the yard, about 30 minutes after the poison's consumed. Then the victim suffers violent convulsions, cramping, and stiffness, and eventually dies from asphyxiation. So there's a 30-minute interval between when the poison is ingested and the onset of symptoms. There seems to be a lot of different types of poison in the world, that's for sure.
Oh dear. Death by poisoning again. It's always so awful.
Again? This should be the first case of death by poisoning, right? Not second, because technically this happened before the case in Japan. Was that a typo? Was that like a typo that happened? What's happening? 30 minutes is a long time. Certainly long enough for the victim to have locked the door behind the accused after he left. You can't deny that. And it further degrades Soseki-san's alibi. I have the medical report from the doctor who examined the victim here, my lord. It spells it out, really. The accused is the only person who could have done it. The very first case was poison too, from the first game. The very first case. Not Dr. John H. Wilson, right? I'm trying to think, because it was Wilson was stabbed, Kazuma passed away on the ship. Possibly, we don't know if he's alive. He might be alive. I don't know. It's copium at this point, I know. Then I thought our very first case in the Bailey was the stabbing in the carriage with Mr. McGriddle. And then after was Natsume Soseki being accused of murder. And then after that was the incident with Gina and the gunshot. No, they thought the doctor was shot, but it was poison. Oh! Oh yeah, that's right. Okay. I forgot. Okay. Yeah, you're right. On the stake. You're right. I think. Okay. Okay, we're good. I was like, my brain's stupid. Very well, the court will add this report to the court record as evidence. Thank you for the reminder, Sho and Miso.
Oh yes, I see it here. Delayed onset of symptoms.
Great. The victim would have been perfectly able to lock the door after his guest left. The argument still stands. The argument still stands, you say? This is what Mr. Natsume has been saying, isn't it? The pair of them drank tea together that night, so if there was poison in it, the victim wouldn't have been able to lock the door after the accused left later on. Exactly! Me and my tea are innocent! Sweet and innocent, I tell you. I'm afraid, sir, that doesn't follow. You see, strychnine is a slow-acting poison. In other words, it takes time for symptoms to appear. So, you could have left the room up to 30 minutes after the victim drank the tea. And as long as you did that, Mr. Shampspeare could have locked the door after you'd gone. But no! I drank the tea straight away! The battle over whether Romeo or Juliet was stronger, that came after the tea.
Do you have any evidence to support that statement?
In my great homeland, the Empire of Japan, we have a saying. Drink tea while it's hot. Drink tea while it's hot. Sure, a proverb will satisfy the prosecution. I'm afraid there's no conclusive proof to support the defendant's assertion. Makes sense to me.
It's been a while. I probably only remember because I played it or watched others play it at least 3 times. Gotcha, that makes sense, that makes sense.
On the contrary, there are sufficient grounds to infer his guilt in the matter. No.
That's the extent of their testimony, is it?
If I could voice a personal opinion, Mr. Naruhodo.
Of course, go ahead.
Mr. Natsume is arguing for his innocence so adamantly and so persistently. Yet Inspector Gregson just brushes what he says aside. It's really quite infuriating.
I agree. So we need to find an inconsistency in what the inspector is saying, I think.
I'm afraid so. As things stand, the jurors are sure to find Mr. Natsume guilty.
As I see it, we need to focus on is the poison and the tea. Let's listen carefully to this testimony again.
Yes.
Van Zieks is going to start drinking his tea cold because he doesn't think the Japanese can be right about anything. Oh man, I know, right? Oh wait, hold on, sorry. I pressed the wrong button. I didn't mean to press that. I meant to check the court record. But let's just zoom through this. My bad, I'm sorry. I meant to check the court record so I could read the medical report. So I can see what exactly the inspector is saying. Okay, so we have secondhand book receipt, street map, bar of soap, pair of teacups, crime scene photograph. Cause of coma, ingestion of a small quantity of strychnine. Toxic effects present 30 minutes after ingestion. High likelihood of the substance having been mixed with the tea the victim was drinking, but no sample could be obtained for testing. The poisoning incident occurred at 1:30 a.m. on 21st February. Assessed from the victim's pocket watch that appears to have broken when the man collapsed after the delayed onset of symptoms. No container for the poison was found at the scene. Okay. Strychnine takes some time to affect the body. People don't keel over immediately. The victim would have been perfectly able to lock the door after his guest left. The argument still stands. Would he have been? I don't know that he would have. What do we use to refute the fact that we don't have any...
This is the teacup from which Mr. Natsume was drinking.
Yes, unlike the other one, the inside of the cup is completely clean.
I suppose he must have drunk the contents before the tea had a chance to leave a mark.
I always gulp it down, too.
Sorry, Mr. Naruhodo.
Well, if you just sip it little by little, it goes cold.
Clearly, I shall have to instruct you in the proper way to take tea.
Okay. This must be the cup that Mr. Shampspeare was drinking from then. It's stained on the inside.
A tea does that, I'm afraid, even green tea.
Oh really? I've never noticed before.
You've never noticed?
Well, I never leave it in the cup long enough to leave a mark. I like to gulp it down. Drink tea while it's hot. That's the Japanese way, isn't it?
Oh dear, so many people seem to have the wrong idea about our culture, and most of them are Japanese.
Okay, so... there's no tea ring on the inside of Mr. Natsume's cup. I'm confused. So, am I supposed to present the teacups at one of these statements? Because, like... I mean, the assumption is only Shampspeare's cup is poison, right? But he did leave the the tea in the cup for a while. Unless it's saying he would have shown symptoms earlier? Do I present this? Let's save. Let's just do a little save. Let's just see, you know? Like we're saving. We're saving and going. Let's see if this works. Oops, wrong button. Present. Is it the cup? Present the cups.
Objection.
No, it's not. Last statement was contradictory. Okay, not that. Okay, hold on. Perhaps it would serve you well to concentrate your efforts on one contradiction at a time, Counsel. Ugh, I made a bit of a mess at that. In a number of ways, actually. Wait, what? Okay, so... take some time. People don't keel over. What if I present the same evidence on the second... sentence. Statement.
Objection.
Nope, that's not it. What? What am I supposed to do? So in the hint... hold on. Well, you know, I was just playing devil's advocate. So in the hint, he says to focus on what Gregson is saying, but there's nothing else that I can present that's like related to what Gregson is saying. So he says it needs time to affect the body. People don't keel over immediately. Would have been able to lock the door after his guests left. The argument still stands. Secondhand bookstore. Street map. Soap. Oh,
What is it, Mr. Naruhodo?
this bar of soap. When we first found it, I could have sworn there was some sort of round disc in this depression. Just here, a reddish one.
Yes, you're right. I remember it too. But now the depression is completely empty.
Where could the disc have gone? Okay, that's a little bit sus. Whoever opened this envelope didn't bother with a letter opener or scissors, did they?
Yes, whoever opened it was clearly someone with an unrefined temperament. And judging from the angle of the rip here, the person in question might have been right-handed.
Miss Susato! I think perhaps someone's been reading too much of the Adventures of Herlock Sholmes.
You can never read too much of it, Mr. Naruhodo. Never!
There really isn't anything else for me to present on those two statements? There's nothing. 1:30. I think my brain is too like dead right now to like actually. I think my brain is too dead to like think about it. I think I need to like head out actually. I'm so sorry, today's stream is so short. I'm like just really tired, so I
I think we're gonna call it here. I do apologize. Sorry, you guys. Damn, I know, I'm sorry. I usually go longer, but I can feel like the brain fog happening, you know, where I'm like, hey, there's a thing that I'm supposed to be thinking about, but I can't because my eyes are tired. I just want to yawn all the time, and that doesn't make for interesting, you know, content. So just want to make sure that you guys, you know, are entertained. And if I can't do the entertaining, then I will pass you along to someone who can do the entertaining. Let's see, who is on right now that we can raid into? We shared nom pics. Perfect. I will make sure to check the Discord. Thank you guys for sharing. I appreciate that. But let's see, who is on? Who can we raid and say hello to? Pat is on, and I don't think I've had a chance to raid Pat yet. Hope you get a good rest. Thank you for stream. Yes, Miso, and I hope you are able to get some rest as well. Hopefully get that medication refilled because, you know, once we start taking it, you know, we really do depend on it. I do understand that. Okay, you guys, copy your favorite raid message. We're gonna go over to Pat's stream. Tomorrow, no stream as usual. It is Friday. I have D&D. But on Saturday, I will be streaming some Baldur's Gate, and then potentially I will have something else that I can show you guys after Enva does some streaming. I don't know if you guys know, but Enva is one of the other VTSO members that has been doing some cool things, and I sent something in for a cool thing to be done. Alright, I'm gonna raid Actor Pat. As always, you guys, please be happy, please be healthy, but most of all, please be kind to others, because you never know what a smile, hug, or hello can do for someone who's having a bad day. And be kind to yourselves. Make sure you are staying hydrated, stretch, make sure you are, you know, drinking that water, because if you don't, you might get an embolism and then you might die. And then I'd be really sad, okay? If you died, I'd be very, very sad. All right. Where is... Okay. Bye, guys. I love you. Bye, 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 bye.